For my 40th birthday, my husband David gave me a $50 gift card to a chain coffee shop. A week later, I found a credit card statement showing a $15,000 purchase at Tiffany's. The necklace wasn't for me. It was for Jessica, his, quote, new assistant. I didn't get angry. I got tactical. I tracked Jessica down, found her apartment, and when she wasn't looking, I took that necklace back. My final act wasn't filing divorce papers. It was wearing that diamond necklace to our son's birthday party, knowing Jessica would be there. I walked up to her, touched the diamond, and whispered, "Nice necklace. My husband has great taste." This is the story of how I claimed the real birthday gift for myself. My marriage to David wasn't a fairy tale. It was a well-managed partnership. He was successful in finance. I managed the household and our complex social calendar. We had 2 beautiful children. Everything looked perfect until my 40th birthday. I had dropped hints for weeks, a new pair of diamond studs, a weekend trip. The anticipation was high. On the morning of my birthday, David handed me a small, awkwardly wrapped box. Inside was a $50 gift card to Starbucks. "Happy birthday, honey," he chirped, barely looking up from his phone. "I knew you'd use it." I forced a smile. The gift wasn't just cheap, it was dismissive. It signaled that he no longer saw me or cared to put any effort into my happiness. The disappointment was heavy, but I buried it. The real spark of suspicion came 3 days later while I was paying the monthly bills. Our joint credit card statement arrived. Buried amongst the usual grocery and gas charges was a line that stopped my heart. Tiffany & Co., $15,000. Date of purchase? My birthday. The blood drained from my face. $15,000. It wasn't for me. If he bought a diamond for me, he would have made a show of it. He would have announced it to the world. I didn't confront him. I immediately went into investigator mode. I looked through his drawers, his office, his car. The receipt was gone. The signature blue Tiffany box was nowhere to be found. The diamond necklace was a ghost, a physical manifestation of his lie. I used my own private contacts, a trusted friend who worked in IT security, to access David's work calendar and email without triggering any alerts. I wasn't looking for love notes. I was looking for the recipient's address. I soon found repeated lunch appointments with Jessica R. and discovered her full employee profile. Jessica Rourke, 25, new marketing assistant. My stomach churned, but the anger was still cold. Using an obscure address database, I found Jessica's apartment building in a lesser-known part of town, a place David would never go unless he had a very specific reason. I drove there one afternoon. I didn't go in. I just parked down the street and waited. And there she was, Jessica, young, vibrant, laughing as she walked out. And around her neck, catching the afternoon sun, was the glint of a new diamond necklace. It was classic, elegant, and undeniably expensive. It was the $15,000 necklace my husband bought on my birthday. I took a photo with my telephoto lens, zoomed in on the clasp. Proof. The sight of her wearing my birthday gift fueled a rage that was surgical, not hysterical. I decided my revenge would be spectacular, public, and involve reclaiming the property. I wasn't just going to file for divorce. I was going to humiliate them both and legally reclaim my property. The necklace was bought with communal marital funds. It belonged to us. It was a shared asset that had been diverted for illicit means. I decided, legally and morally, it belonged to me. The diamond wasn't just jewelry. It was a physical manifestation of David's betrayal. I needed to confront the lie with the truth, literally wearing the evidence. The perfect stage for the confrontation arrived, my son Liam's 7th birthday party. David was insistent that his new team be invited, and he specifically mentioned Jessica Rourke. He wanted to parade his achievement, both professional and personal, right in front of me, showcasing his seamless transition. He had no idea he was inviting the judge, the jury, and the executioner. My first step was to understand Jessica's weak points. I treated her life like a corporate vulnerability audit. Tracking. I didn't rely on David's work calendar alone. I hired a private, discreet investigator, a woman I knew from my charity board who ran a security firm, under the guise of tracing a lost heirloom. Within 48 hours, I had Jessica's full daily routine, her coffee shop, her commute, and most importantly, her gym schedule. The flaw: Jessica was careless. The investigator noted that Jessica always left her purse or gym bag in the car seat while working out at the high-end Equinox gym on Tuesday evenings, trusting the security of the upscale neighborhood. I realized I didn't need to break into her house. I just needed to access her car. I wasn't going to risk a felony for a diamond, but I was willing to risk a minor trespass to retrieve my property. I researched non-destructive entry methods. I found a specialized locksmith who, for a steep cash fee, taught me a 1-hour course on retrieving keys locked inside a vehicle. He showed me how to use a Slim Jim and an air wedge on modern cars. I practiced on an old junker car in an abandoned lot. I didn't become a master thief, but I learned how to be efficient. My heart pounded, but my hands were steady. Every click of the lockpick wasn't illegal entry. It was the sound of justice approaching. I drove home and bought the necessary tools online, disguised as car maintenance and repair kit. The day of the retrieval felt like the climax of a spy movie, but played out in a suburban parking lot. I followed Jessica to the Equinox gym. I parked 2 rows over, out of sight, but with a clear view of her pristine silver sedan. She got out, looking vibrant in her Lululemon gear, locked the car with a beep, and walked inside, checking her phone. She left her large leather gym bag visible on the passenger seat, the perfect target. I waited precisely 5 minutes. This wasn't about speed, it was about certainty. I walked over. My pulse was a dull roar in my ears. I knew if anyone saw me, my life would become infinitely more complicated. I slipped the air wedge into the top corner of the driver's side door, creating a tiny gap. Then, with the specialized Slim Jim, I felt for the locking mechanism. Click. It took me 28 seconds, 2 seconds faster than my best practice run. I opened the door quietly. The gym bag was right there. I opened the main zipper. It was messy, full of towels and water bottles. But then I found the small zipped internal pocket. Inside, nestled not in a jewelry box or a velvet pouch, but just carelessly wrapped in a cheap synthetic gym scarf, was the Tiffany diamond necklace. It was magnificent. The central diamond caught the pale garage light, reflecting a painful truth. This was my $15,000 gift, treated like trash by the woman who received it. I pocketed the necklace. I carefully closed the zipped pocket, arranged the scarf, and gently shut the car door. The beep confirming the lock was the sound of my victory. I left everything else exactly as it was. No forced entry, no theft, just retrieval of marital property. I drove home, the weight of the diamonds heavy in my pocket. I immediately put the necklace into my personal jewelry box, the one David never looked at. Next to it, I placed the $50 Starbucks gift card he had given me. The contrast was exquisite. I called David. My voice was calm, almost cheerful. "David," I said sweetly, "Liam's party is Saturday. I finalized the guest list. Please tell Jessica Rourke she's absolutely welcome. We'd love to meet your important new assistant. And honey, don't forget to wear something nice." David sounded slightly nervous, but immensely relieved that I was being so mature about his work life. He agreed immediately. I hung up, looking at my reflection. The final act was set. I wasn't just filing divorce papers. I was performing a public execution of his reputation, and I had the perfect accessory. I spent the next 2 days selecting the dress that would make those diamonds pop. The game was over, but the show was about to begin. The day of Liam's 7th birthday party dawned bright and cruel. Our sprawling backyard was transformed into a carnival of deception. A bouncy castle, a catered buffet, a professional clown, and a carefully curated guest list including all of David's key business associates, investors, and their spouses. I waited. I let the party build momentum. I ensured David was thoroughly occupied playing the role of the loving, successful father and husband, a role he was about to convert. I waited until the main event, the moment Jessica Rourke arrived. She entered the backyard looking bright, nervous, and slightly overdressed in a fitted, professional sheath dress. She was talking awkwardly to David's biggest client, a man named Mr. Thompson, who controlled a significant investment portfolio. The stage was set. I didn't sneak in. I waited until Jessica was firmly positioned in the center of the gathering. Then I made my entrance from the back terrace. I wasn't wearing my usual simple linen dress. I was wearing a stunning, deep sapphire blue cocktail dress, a dress I hadn't worn since our engagement party, one that demanded attention. And of course, the necklace. The Tiffany diamond necklace was dazzling. It caught the afternoon sun, refracting light into sharp, painful truths. It wasn't subtle, it was a statement. Every single head turned. There was a collective gasp of silent recognition. David's business partner, Michael, gave a low, knowing whistle, thinking David had finally surprised me. David was across the lawn talking to Thompson. His eyes widened when he saw the necklace. His face went pale. He knew instantly. The blood drained from his face, leaving a sickly gray cast. He started walking toward me, his hands flapping slightly, a gesture of pure, visceral panic. I ignored him. I didn't break stride. I walked straight past David, who stammered, "Rebecca, where?" I walked directly toward Jessica Rourke. Jessica Rourke saw the necklace approaching, and her smile evaporated mid-sentence. Her eyes, initially wide with professional envy, suddenly widened further with terror. She looked from the diamonds around my neck to the bare skin of her own, instinctively touching the empty spot where the necklace had been. The moment her hand touched her neck, she knew it was gone. She knew I had found out. I stopped right in front of her. The music was loud, the children were shrieking with joy, the clown was making balloon animals, but for the three of us, the world had descended into a vacuum of silence. I reached up, my fingers deliberately touching the cold, sharp facets of the central diamond. The silence was broken only by the laughter of the children, making the confrontation even more jarring. "Jessica," I whispered, loud enough only for the three of us, including Thompson, to hear. "I love your dress. It's very professional." I paused, letting the silence hang heavy. I touched the necklace again, feeling the weight of the $15,000 truth. "But I must say," I continued, my voice sweet and lethal, "my husband has excellent taste in jewelry, doesn't he? I'm so glad he finally decided to give me this gift. It fits me perfectly." Jessica's face crumpled. She looked at David, who was frozen in horror halfway across the lawn, unable to interfere. Then she looked back at me, tears welling up, a pathetic mix of guilt and realization. She didn't try to deny it. There was no argument, no defense. She let out a small, choked sound, half sob, half shriek of utter defeat, and ran. She pushed past the buffet table, knocking over a tray of mini quiches, fleeing the party in a hysterical dash for the gate. David finally reached me, grabbing my arm, hissing through his teeth. "You crazy bitch! What did you do? Where did you get that back?" I gently pulled my arm away. "I got the best birthday gift a woman could ask for, darling. Proof." I then turned and addressed Mr. Thompson, David's major client, who was staring, utterly dumbfounded. "I apologize for the scene, Mr. Thompson," I said calmly. "It seems my husband's new assistant wasn't ready for the pressure of our corporate environment. She resigned effective immediately." The party didn't need a press release. Jessica Rourke, the nervous assistant, fleeing a child's birthday party while the wife wore the unmistakable diamond. It was all the proof the business community needed. The damage was immediate and irreparable. The whispers started immediately, not about the affair, but about David's recklessness, poor judgment, and massive financial liability. I spent the rest of the party playing the role of the gracious, slightly bewildered hostess, laughing with my friends, and ensuring Liam had a wonderful birthday. David stood in a corner, nursing a drink, a ghost in his own party, his career bleeding out on the lawn. I filed for divorce the very next morning, wearing the sapphire dress and the $15,000 necklace. It wasn't just evidence of infidelity. It was proof of financial misconduct and misappropriation of marital funds. David was left with nothing but the memory of the necklace on my neck, a final, dazzling symbol of the empire he lost for a cheap lie.